thou know thyself." These words, engraved at the entrance of the Temple of Delphi in ancient Greece, served as the first inquiry posed to those seeking the voice of the gods. To remember our true essence, this is the key that opens the door to distant cosmic memories. Who are we? Why were we born on Earth, and where did we come from? The answers lie etched within ancient records, and now, quietly, they are beginning to reveal themselves. Long ago, in an age when humanity had no words yet, when we gazed upon the stars, seeing them as gods, beings descended from the heavens. They bestowed knowledge, guided the rise of civilizations, and came to be known as the Anunnaki. Traces left by ancient civilizations hold countless mysteries inexplicable by modern science. But were these beings truly gods? In an era absent from humanity's historical records, a civilization with astonishing technology existed on Earth. The ruins they left behind continue to mystify us today. Techniques capable of perfectly shaping massive stones weighing many tons, transporting them over several kilometers, and stacking them with millimeter-level precision. How exactly did the people of that age accomplish such feats? Moreover, history is etched with numerous myths. Ancient Sumerian clay tablets speak of those who descended from the sky. Known as the Anunnaki, these beings possessed advanced knowledge and technology and are said to have played a role in the creation of humanity. In India's ancient text, the Vimana Shastra, detailed designs of flying vehicles are described. At Egypt's Abydos Temple, carvings strikingly similar to modern-day helicopters and submarines can be found. Are these merely coincidences? Or did ancient people actually witness something extraordinary? In the late 20th century, archaeologist and linguist Zecharia Sitchin independently decoded ancient Sumerian clay tablets, proposing an astonishing theory. He suggested that the Anunnaki were not merely mythical beings, but actual visitors from outer space. The truth about humanity's origins and our future might be far more magnificent and mysterious than we ever imagined. Perhaps we are not truly alone, but members of a vast cosmic family. Right now, we stand at the doorway to truths that could rewrite human history. This topic will surely spark debate, but I encourage you to see with your own eyes, listen carefully, feel deeply, and ultimately, discern the information for yourself. This is merely an invitation, a bridge to ignite your curiosity, connecting you to new possibilities awaiting your exploration. Zecharia Sitchin became famous for proposing that the ancient gods were, in fact, extraterrestrial beings. For now, let's take a moment to listen to Zecharia Sitchin's interpretations. Sitchin was a linguist proficient in Sumerian, Akkadian, and Hebrew, and he independently translated and studied the ancient cuneiform texts inscribed on clay tablets from Mesopotamian civilizations. In particular, from Babylonian creation epics such as the Enuma Elish and the Atrahasis, as well as thousands of clay tablet documents, Sitchin derived a bold hypothesis regarding the true identity of the gods. He interpreted these accounts not as mere myths, but as actual records of past events that took place on Earth. According to him, the Sumerian gods were real, extraterrestrial beings. From this perspective, he carefully decoded the names, actions, and hierarchical structures of these deities, attempting to reveal the profound connection between ancient civilizations and the cosmos. The idea that gods might be extraterrestrials is often discussed, and it originates from the myths we're exploring here. The term Anunnaki in Sumerian means the children of Anu, referring to beings of high status who served Anu, the sky god. Thus, Anunnaki isn't an individual name. It denotes a group of beings who came to Earth from a planet called Nibiru. Ancient texts describe them as a group of gods who descended from the heavens to the earth. These Anunnaki each had distinct names and roles. Ancient records describe how they built cities on Earth and imparted knowledge of agriculture, law, astronomy, and more to humanity. The fact that these accounts were portrayed not as myths, but as detailed records of their activities, added profound depth to Sitchin's interpretations. Sitchin proposed the existence of an undiscovered planet within our solar system, named Nibiru. According to him, Nibiru follows a long elliptical orbit around the Sun, completing one revolution approximately every 3,600 years. He interpreted Nibiru as the home planet of the Anunnaki. This theory is based on astronomical data recorded by the ancient Sumerians. Sitchin pointed out that ancient clay tablets depict 12 celestial bodies, including the Sun and the Moon, suggesting the existence of an unknown planet not yet recognized by modern science. According to these ancient records, the Anunnaki arrived on Earth approximately 450,000 years ago aboard massive spacecraft. Their vehicles were described as beings descending from the sky enveloped in fire and smoke, or as chariots of the gods appearing with thunder and tearing through the sky, which Sitchin interpreted as depictions of spacecraft. These descriptions, he argued, were ancient people's attempts to explain technologically advanced vehicles they had witnessed, using their limited language and concepts. They are said to have first landed near the Persian Gulf region, in what is now southern Iraq. There, they established their first outpost, called Eridu. At that time, Earth was inhabited by primitive ancestors of modern humans. For those living on the ground, the arrival of these beings was nothing short of the appearance of gods themselves. Imagine the awe and fear ancient people must have felt, witnessing beings with extraordinary appearances suddenly emerging from the sky, accompanied by dazzling lights and overwhelming sounds. According to Sumerian records, the Anunnaki came to Earth with a specific purpose. Their home planet, Nibiru, faced a crisis, a thinning atmosphere. They planned to create a protective layer by dispersing fine particles of metal into their atmosphere. The key resource required for this plan was gold, which they intended to mine here on Earth. Also, the term Anunnaki is not the name of a particular individual. Instead, it refers to a family of gods who came from space, or a group of beings belonging to a ruling class. This group included beings with individual names such as Enki, Enlil, and Inana, each assigned a specific role here on Earth. Among the Anunnaki, the most significant figures were Enki and Enlil, two brothers who were the sons of Anu, the supreme ruler. Enki is depicted as a scientist and god of wisdom who possessed the technology to create and manipulate life. In contrast, Enlil is portrayed as a military leader and god of wind, known for his more authoritarian nature. The two brothers had conflicting ideas about how to proceed with their activities on Earth. Enki developed affection for Earth and its living beings, and desired to support humanity's evolution and advancement. On the other hand, Enlil viewed humanity merely as slaves, desiring control and dominance over them. The relationship between Enki and Enlil extended far beyond mere brotherhood. It symbolized a cosmic conflict between ideals and reality, freedom and control. For example, the legend of the Great Flood recorded in the Old Testament is interpreted as an event initiated by Enlil to correct humanity's rebellious nature. In contrast, Enki secretly intervened to save humanity, providing them an opportunity for renewal. This conflict represents a fundamental clash of values among the gods themselves and serves as a key to understanding the ancient cosmic order. Inanna, later known as Ishtar, was revered as the goddess of love and war. Within the delicate power balance between Enki and Enlil, she played a critical role, sometimes acting as a mediator, at other times as a clever strategist. Some researchers suggest that the widespread goddess worship found across many ancient cultures originated from the memory of Inanna, spreading throughout different regions. They established vast mining bases stretching from the Middle East into Africa. Many archaeological sites described today as unexplained ancient mines may date back to this era. Initially, to mine Earth's gold, they employed a group of lower-ranking deities known as the Igigi, who served under the Anunnaki. However, dissatisfaction grew due to harsh working conditions, and eventually a new solution had to be sought. Ancient Sumerian clay tablets describe how the Anunnaki created humanity by mixing blood with clay. Facing the urgent need to create a workforce to replace themselves, the Anunnaki turned their attention to a primitive hominid species naturally living on Earth, Homo erectus. The Anunnaki, who had arrived on Earth, needed a labor force to mine gold. At first, they conducted the labor themselves, but the extreme harshness of the work soon became unbearable, prompting them to seek another set of hands. Their attention turned toward Homo erectus, a primitive hominid species already existing naturally on Earth. In a bold act of creation, they decided to infuse this species with their own genetic material. Using the advanced technologies of the gods, they engineered a new form of life. The clay tablets contain numerous references reminiscent of modern genetic manipulation, with phrases such as the creation chamber, mold of life, and mixing of semen. The Anunnaki scientists Enki and Ninhursag combined their own DNA with the DNA of primitive hominid species living on Earth at the time, thus creating a new species, the ancestors of modern humanity. This became the first human, known as Adam. His birth was not merely accidental, it was an intentional creation, born amidst the intersection of divine wisdom and conflict among the gods. This hypothesis offers a possible explanation for humanity's evolutionary missing link, the mysterious rapid leap in human evolution. Around 200,000 years ago, Homo sapiens suddenly appeared, possessing advanced intelligence and linguistic capabilities. This emergence wasn't a slow evolutionary process driven by natural selection, but rather the result of deliberate genetic engineering. Furthermore, human DNA contains peculiar segments that science struggles to explain. These areas, known as so-called junk DNA, remained mysterious for a long time, with their purposes unknown. However, recent studies suggest they may have significant functions. What if our genes contain embedded programs of advanced capabilities? Programs that have yet to be activated. The age of the gods depicted in ancient myths might not be merely imaginary stories, but actual memories of real events that occurred in Earth's history. Even today, within our bodies, the DNA of these ancient visitors continues to live on. The story of Adam and Eve, recorded in the Old Testament, is it truly just a myth? Zecharia Sitchin believed that behind this story lay the hidden history of humanity's creation by the Anunnaki. Indeed, ancient Sumerian clay tablets record that Enki and his half-sister Ninhursag created humanity as a workforce. The famous tale of humanity being forbidden to eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden also takes on a profoundly different meaning from another perspective. According to one theory, the early humans created by the Anunnaki were deliberately genetically modified so that they would lack reproductive abilities. This was presumably done to maintain full control over them. Then, a being appeared who valued knowledge and free will, Enki. In ancient records, his symbol was depicted as the serpent. Thus, the biblical depiction of the serpent tempting humanity to eat the fruit of knowledge could symbolically represent the event in which Enki granted humanity reproductive abilities and self-awareness. Similarly, the story of expulsion from paradise also overlaps with another ancient record. Sitchin suggested that Enlil, feeling threatened by humanity's rapid growth, expelled them from a place called Eden, meaning plain in Sumerian. This event, he believed, was later reshaped into the narrative we now find in the book of Genesis. From this viewpoint, perhaps the book of Genesis is not merely a religious teaching, but rather fragmented memories of actual events from ancient times, mythologized over thousands of years. It is a story of the intentions of gods and the birth of humanity's free will arising from them. By modern standards, this may sound extraordinary, but is it truly just Zecharia Sitchin's wild imagination? Who are we? What is the true origin of humanity? These questions still echo today. So far, we've explored the most famous hypothesis of Zecharia Sitchin, who independently decoded ancient Sumerian clay tablets. But now, despite everything we've covered, set Sitchin's theory aside. Today, another source has emerged, one that corroborates this lost history from an entirely different perspective. Her name is Elena Danaan. Elena Danaan is a French field archaeologist and acclaimed author, a modern-day contactee connected with the Galactic Federation, who carries memories of the galaxy itself. Around the year 2020, she decided, "I can't keep this information to myself any longer," and began openly sharing her experiences. Moreover, Elena has emerged not only with her expertise as a field archaeologist, but also as a contemporary messenger of truth, speaking from her own extraordinary experiences. Ancient messages and modern contactee information. Where do these converge, and what do they reveal to us? We'll explore Elena Danaan's captivating story, her unique perspective on who the Anunnaki truly were, and what ultimately became of the Anunnaki lineage. We will delve deeply into the mysteries of ancient mythology, unraveling connections that might at first appear unrelated. But in truth, everything is connected. First, let's take a closer look at Elena Danaan's personal background. Elena Danaan has worked extensively as a field archaeologist in Egypt and France, engaging in the study of ancient ruins and civilizations. Her archaeological research is closely intertwined with a profound understanding of ancient spirituality, druidism, shamanism, magic, and alchemy. Through this extensive knowledge, she offers a multifaceted exploration of past cultures and belief systems. Moreover, Elena has experienced direct encounters with extraterrestrial beings since her childhood, and has since become an emissary for various extraterrestrial organizations. Rather than channeling or engaging in astral travel, she receives information through physical contact, and advanced technologies. By combining archaeological expertise with a cosmic perspective, she uncovers the profound connections between ancient civilizations and the greater universe. But originally, Elena comes from a world named Emeria, located within the Altair star system in the Pegasus galaxy NGC 7331, approximately 45 million light-years from Earth. This image here is an actual photograph of NGC 7331 captured by a friend's telescope. From this incredibly distant star system, Elena left behind her physical form and reincarnated here on Earth. Indeed, Elena Danaan is a messenger who has come to us from beyond this world. Her previous incarnation, before the current one, occurred 300 years in the future on planet Era in the Asha'ara star system of the Pleiades. Elena has experienced several lifetimes on Earth before, but she has also lived in other worlds, including Ashtari Nibiru, the Anunnaki homeworld in the Sirius B system, where she incarnated into the royal lineage of Anu. In other words, Elena's soul has journeyed across time, following a nonlinear path of reincarnation that even includes coming from the future. She reincarnated on Earth carrying a significant mission: the liberation of humanity. But what has her life been like, given this extraordinary purpose? In her current lifetime, Elena Danaan was born in Marseille, in the south of France. Her father was Greek, and her mother was of French and Gotlandic descent. Though her family was not wealthy, she grew up in a loving and highly creative environment, developing an early fascination with science, art, and paranormal phenomena. Gifted with strong intuition and psychic abilities, Elena often gazed up at the stars as a child, searching for her true home. From her mother's side, Elena inherited two significant ancestral lineages. One traces back to the royal bloodline of the Magdalene in France, and the other to the Sami Norse shamanic tradition. Her grandmother was a vulva, a Nordic female seer and shaman who taught Elena tarot, runes, and energy work from a young age. Her ability to journey beyond dimensions is deeply rooted in both these ancestral lineages, as well as memories carried from her soul's origins among the stars. Then, at the age of 9, she experienced abduction by a group known as the Greys. The purpose behind this abduction was to integrate her into a large-scale hybridization program designed to create hybrid beings capable of replacing humanity in an attempted invasion of Earth. However, amidst the terror, she was rescued. Her rescuers were beings aboard a Galactic Federation spaceship, extraterrestrials with blonde hair and fair skin. Among them was one being who became particularly close to Elena, Thor Han Eridion, from the planet Asha'ara in the Pleiades star cluster. Ever since then, continuing throughout her life to this very day, Thor Han has remained Elena's regular contact. Their communication is not limited to physical meetings. It also occurs through advanced technology implanted within Elena's head. Thor Han Eridion, who has closely interacted with Elena, was initially a pilot of the Galactic Federation spacecraft during her rescue from abduction. About 4 years ago, his achievements within the Galactic Federation were recognized, and he was promoted to the rank of High Commander. According to Elena, these beings are not ethereal entities floating spiritually in the night sky. Rather, they exist physically, just like us humans. They differ from humans only in that they were born and raised on different planets, but otherwise, they are fundamentally no different. The only major difference between these beings and us Earth humans is their possession of highly advanced technology. This sophisticated technology undoubtedly surpasses our wildest imaginations. Yet, they consistently remind us humans never to worship extraterrestrials as gods. Humanity is not inferior. These beings simply possess more advanced technology. They have their own environments in which they grew up, their own lives, and their own dramas, just like us. You might have heard the term Galactic Federation frequently mentioned in recent times. However, there is likely no one more qualified than Elena to accurately convey information about it. This is because she serves as an official emissary, authorized by the Galactic Federation itself to disclose certain selected information. According to Elena, the Galactic Federation's true name is Ora Nataru Shari. When translated from their extraterrestrial language into Earth languages, such as English, these three concepts become Ora, a group formed by individual elements united together. Nataru, the name of our galaxy. Shari, worlds, planets, civilizations. The translation that most accurately conveys this meaning is indeed the Galactic Federation. However, apart from the term Federation, other translations include Galactic Planetary Union, Natar World Alliance, Federation, and even Super Federation. To accurately express its true meaning, three important concepts must be included. 1. Galaxy, Natar. 2. Unified Collective, Aura. 3. Planetary Civilization, Shari. Only a translation that encompasses all three of these aspects will truly reflect its original meaning. Also, terms that include of light are merely catchphrases. According to Elena, as far as she is aware, no organizations in our galaxy officially identify themselves as being of light or of darkness. In other words, terms such as Galactic Federation of Light are nothing more than fabrications. Elena Danaan was born into a loving, earthly family, yet she carries within her a cosmic lineage and shamanic heritage, a soul traveler who journeyed across dimensions. Perhaps the reason she endured the ordeal of abduction was because she carries an important mission to watch over the future of humanity and our planet. Having lived through these experiences, she continues to courageously share her memories with love. And even now, at this very moment, she continues to deliver messages from the cosmos to us here on Earth. Elena Danaan's curiosity has always been like a constant journey between the stars and ancient temples. Growing up in southern France, she would gaze at the night sky and think to herself, if the answers can't be found in the sky, perhaps they lie hidden in the past. At a time when the path to studying astronomy was unavailable to her, Elena turned to art and moved to Paris. There, she studied archaeology at the École du Louvre and later specialized in Egyptology at the Cheops Institute. In Cairo, she undertook field training as a student of the French Institute of Oriental Archaeology. She also received a scholarship from the French Ministry of Culture, enabling her to study inscriptions at the Karnak Temple in Luxor. She later became head of the epigraphy department, traveling throughout Egypt, including Sakara, the Valley of the Kings, and Dendera, deciphering the ancient wisdom hidden within hieroglyphic texts. At the Temple of Hathor in Dendera, upon recommendation by her lead researcher, Elena officially began training as a practitioner of ancient Egyptian magic. The sound and intent contained in the hieroglyphs have the power to transform the hologram of reality, and change destiny. When she experienced this secret, she realized for the first time that magic is not an illusion, but a science that touches the power of the universe. She continued her research at Karnak for many years, mastering Arabic and Coptic along the way, and fostering friendships with local Egyptian women. Her deep immersion into the local culture embodied the ideal of a true, living scholar. Eventually, in 1996, during her studies at the French Institute of Oriental Archaeology, Elena encountered the legendary archaeologist Dr. Zahi Hawass. Through this connection, she was invited to visit a very special location, one that would change everything. It was the rumored Hall of Records, hidden beneath the Great Sphinx of Giza. Elena was granted access to an entrance that only a select few had ever entered. But this was no ordinary archaeological excavation. It was the moment when a dimensional gateway, sealed deep within the folds of history, opened uniquely for her. Once, beneath the sands of Giza, there existed another world, one spoken of by no one. Elena had studied archaeology extensively in Egypt, investigating numerous ancient sites as part of a joint French-Egyptian mission. In 1996, while staying in Cairo as a trainee at the French Institute of Oriental Archaeology, she received an invitation to accompany Dr. Zahi Hawass, one of archaeology's leading figures, to a special site on the Giza plateau. It was then that Elena stood at the entrance to the legendary Hall of Records beneath the Sphinx. This was no ordinary archaeological site. It was a gateway to sealed memories, a silent corridor where Earth's hidden history intersects with the memories of the cosmos itself. In fact, since the 1930s, mysterious structures beneath Giza have been uncovered one after another. According to reports by Hamilton M. Wright, a massive vertical shaft and underground passages were discovered connecting the second pyramid and the Sphinx. Beyond these tunnels lay expansive courtyards, chambers, and even what appeared to be spaces resembling an underground city. In the 1990s, psychic Edgar Cayce famously predicted, "Beneath the paws of the Sphinx lies a hall of records." Subsequent seismic surveys scientifically confirmed the existence of multiple chambers and passageways hidden beneath the Sphinx. Also in the 1990s, seismic explorations confirmed the existence of multiple chambers and passageways beneath the Sphinx. Furthermore, a robotic exploration conducted by a German engineering team uncovered previously unexplored shafts and sealed doors within the Great Pyramid. However, all these discoveries were suddenly halted, seemingly sealed away, vanishing without explanation. Repeatedly, evidence pointing to underground structures beneath Giza has surfaced, only to mysteriously disappear again. Then, in 1998, Elena joined a visit to the Pyramid of Djoser at Sakara, located about 20 kilometers south of Giza. Guided by an inspector, she was allowed into part of its underground structure, where she discovered yet another hidden tunnel entrance at the bottom of a deep shaft. According to Elena, this tunnel extended even deeper below the bedrock. This was a separate structure from the Hall of Records Elena had encountered at Giza, suggesting that another sealed, ancient underground network may also exist around Sakara. Even Dr. Zahi Hawass himself once confirmed the existence of these underground passages. When entering the tunnel beneath the paws of the Sphinx, he excitedly remarked, Not even Indiana Jones could get here. This is a tunnel no one has ever seen before. However, shortly afterward, Dr. Hawass dramatically changed his stance, stating publicly, "There is nothing beneath the Sphinx." What exactly happened to him? Who or what commanded that the truth be sealed away? Unfortunately, such cases are not uncommon in Egyptian archaeology. Egyptologists themselves are often aware of a secretive mafia, controlling research and concealing new discoveries. According to Elena, historical documents indicate that in the 1830s, French engineers conducted extensive excavations in front of the Sphinx and even discovered a door leading underground. However, their work was abruptly halted by a mysterious shadow authority. Furthermore, there is the temple known as the Karnak Temple, originally built in dedication to Amun, the protective deity of Thebes. According to Elena, this temple is actually owned by the Freemasons, and of course their ownership is not limited to this temple alone. Now, with the help of advanced subterranean scanning technologies and independent research teams, the existence of an extensive underground city structure beneath Giza is once again gaining attention. In recent years, multiple discoveries of underground structures around the pyramids at Giza have been reported. In June 2024, archaeologists using advanced ground-penetrating radar and other cutting-edge techniques detected hidden structures beneath the vicinity of the Great Pyramid of Giza. This revealed the presence of an L-shaped structure and a large, unidentified object buried deep beneath the sandy terrain. Similarly, in May 2024, a joint Japanese-Egyptian research team discovered a previously unknown L-shaped structure beneath an area known as the Void Zone, located near the Great Pyramid of Khufu. This structure was reported to be located at a depth of 0.5 to 2 meters underground, measuring approximately 10 meters by 15 meters. Moreover, recently, in March 2025, a large cylindrical structure was discovered beneath the pyramid of Khafra in Giza. This structure lies deep underground and possesses a complex shape, leading researchers to speculate on its unknown function and purpose. These discoveries suggest the possibility of vast underground cities and complex structures beneath the Giza pyramids. While some experts remain skeptical and call for further investigation and verification, these recent findings lend significant support to Elena Danaan's claims. These details were first revealed in Elena Danaan's book, Cedars, The Return of the Gods. The book was published internationally in 2022 and in Japan in 2023. But Elena's description of the Giza underworld doesn't end there. She also encountered a mysterious device hidden under the Sphinx. What on earth lies beneath the sands of Giza? Through Elena's eyewitness testimony, the truth is finally coming to light. The Giza Plateau, beneath the paws of the Sphinx, is like a gateway connecting humanity to its deepest memories. Elena Danaan was once guided there into a chamber known as the Hall of Records, where she encountered a mysterious device. Her experience beneath the Sphinx with Dr. Zecharia Hawass in 1998 triggered memories of another event she had initially dismissed as merely a spiritual experience. An event that occurred 7 years earlier, in April 1991. One night, Thor Han, the being from the Pleiades, visited Elena. Taking her hand gently as she stood in her pajamas, he teleported her to the foot of the Great Sphinx. Because this event took place in 1991, before Elena had ever physically visited Egypt, she felt a deep sense of excitement. She vividly remembers the cold desert breeze brushing against her skin, the grains of sand softly grazing her, and the infinite stars stretching across the night sky. Wrapped in a mysterious, peaceful silence, enveloped in waves of gentle light, Thor Han whispered softly,
"We're going down now. The main entrance is sealed by walls, so this is the only way."
Thor Han pointed toward the large stone stele between the front paws of the Sphinx, dating from the reign of Thutmose IV. Looking closely, Elena realized that this stele was sealing the entrance to the underground.
"There are two entrances," Thor Han explained. "One is right between the paws of the Sphinx. The other is precisely aligned at a very specific angle between the Sphinx and the Pyramid of Khafra."
Holding her hand tightly, Thor Han continued with a mysterious tone.
"We need to shift our density."
Thor Han's body began to glow, surrounded by a halo of brilliant white light, turning slightly translucent. Wrapped in this swirling vortex of light, Elena soon noticed her own body becoming translucent as well. Together they descended the underground forbidden stairs. At the bottom, they arrived at a branching point leading to the left. A stairway carved into solid rock, opening into a long corridor stretching further into the depths. The corridor had a high ceiling, lined on both sides with several square entrances, each leading into adjacent chambers. It appeared to have been deserted for ages. Yet strangely, the space was filled with a soft, gentle illumination whose source was impossible to discern. As they proceeded, the temperature gradually dropped and their voices were swallowed by the walls. Traces of decorative paintings could be seen there as well. Just beneath the boundary between the walls and the ceiling ran a red-painted frieze. The architectural style of the underground hall, with its rows of square pillars, was strikingly similar to that of Khafra's Valley Temple and the Temple of Osiris at Abydos. Perhaps these structures were created by the same builders, Elena thought to herself. The ground was unpaved, revealing the bare bedrock beneath. At that moment, Thor Han spoke.
"In this chamber lies evidence of an ancient civilization, one far older than this site, possessing science and culture vastly superior to that which built these ruins."
Is this whole structure older than the pyramids?
The structures above ground were built long ago by the people known as the Urana. Egyptian pharaohs simply repurposed them. It's something rulers often do. But the technology hidden beneath these ancient structures was placed here by another civilization, in a completely different era.
Urana, Thor Han explained, means light of the cosmos in the Anunnaki language, and specifically refers to Orion.
Who are the people who left this technology here?
They are not from this galaxy. When humanity is ready and these places are fully reactivated, they will return someday.
Halfway down the corridor, they entered a chamber on the right-hand side. At the far end of the room, shelves lined the wall, holding various strange objects and devices. On one of these shelves were several crystal egg-shaped devices. Thor Han directed her attention specifically to one of 4 crystal eggs, each about 30 centimeters tall, displayed on the second shelf.
This is a treasure trove of knowledge. It can only be accessed by connecting directly through your consciousness, so you must be on the right frequency. You are in league with the people who placed this device here. If you reach out, you can feel the energy.
She spread her hands out and held them over the crystal egg. Then a flash ran across her forehead, and through her pineal gland, her consciousness merged with the device. What she saw at this moment, it was something that had remained deep in Ms. Elena's memories for a long time. From the egg-shaped crystal device, intricate holographic symbols and diagrams leap into her head. She couldn't consciously grasp what the symbols represented, but through some mysterious intuition, she understood they were encoding vast amounts of data into symbolic form. It felt as if something deep within her knew exactly what was happening, openly receiving this knowledge as it filled her mind, reaching into the very core of her soul. Then, suddenly from these symbols emerged vivid images, playing out in astonishing realism before her eyes. What flooded into her consciousness were memories of cities from an ancient, highly advanced civilization. Silver disc-shaped spacecraft drifting across the sky, a gleaming white city surrounded by canals, multiple pyramids standing side by side, with an immense tower-like structure at its center. Everything felt elegant and futuristic, yet somehow deeply familiar, evoking a sense of nostalgia. Then, suddenly, time began rewinding, taking her even further into visions of an even more distant past. Red and yellow lights raining down from the sky, cities engulfed in flames, explosions, poisonous smoke, tsunamis, war, fleets of spacecraft departing Earth, one after another. It was the story of the collapse of an ancient, advanced civilization from long ago, and of those who sealed these memories inside the crystal egg and left them behind here. At that moment, Thor Han spoke.
That's because you are one of them. The device resonates with your soul's memories. One day you'll fully understand its meaning.
She left the place confused and overwhelmed. It was no mere vision. When she actually visited Giza in 1998 and stood at the entrance to the Hall of Records, she was convinced that what she had thought was just a spiritual experience or something was not that. Just how many extraterrestrial civilizations had intervened in Egypt's history? The true history of this planet had not been preserved merely in scrolls or written texts. These lingering questions continued to trouble Elena deeply. So far, we've explored Elena Danaan's fascinating background. Now let's return our focus to the Anunnaki, taking an even deeper look through Elena's unique insights. Hearing her perspective will surely bring you closer to understanding the Anunnaki and the hidden truths of our ancient past. According to Elena, long ago, between the fertile Tigris and Euphrates rivers in present-day Iraq, there existed a magnificent and abundant land known as Eden. This land was known by different names throughout history. The ancient Greeks called it Mesopotamia. The Arabs named it Bilad al-Rafidain, and the Syrians referred to it as Aram Naharaim, or Beth Naharain. Recognized as one of the earliest cradles of civilization on Earth, this region corresponds to what we now call modern-day Iraq. The first civilization known to leave its traces there was the one we call Sumer. The Sumerians referred to their own land as Kengir, meaning land of the noble lords, and their language as Imagi, or Imagir. This civilization emerged during the Copper Age and Early Bronze Age, reaching its peak between approximately 5000 and 4000 BCE. The Sumerian city of Eridu, located near the Persian Gulf, is considered to be one of the oldest cities known to humanity. The earliest Sumerian written records were discovered in the cities of Uruk and Jemdet Nasr, dating from approximately 3500 BCE to 3000 BCE. In the ancient text known as the Enuma Elish, from this period, it is written that the first rulers were gods who traveled through the sky in rectangular vehicles and bright spheres of light. According to these detailed records, the gods depicted in artworks and described on clay tablets had appearances quite similar to humans, and their physical characteristics were categorized meticulously. In humanity's prehistoric era, it appears that multiple extraterrestrial societies, each claiming true ownership of Earth, arose successively to oversee and manage our planet. According to these tablets, various extraterrestrial administrators or otherworldly beings appeared on Earth long before humanity existed in its current form. Their primary objective was mining precious minerals and gathering valuable resources from our planet. At one point, these extraterrestrial visitors decided to enhance the genome of Earth's native inhabitants, creating a hybrid superspecies through genetic manipulation. According to these tablets, to create this new hybrid human species, the body of a male deity was mixed with clay and placed within the womb of a goddess. In all ancient indigenous civilizations on Earth, clay symbolically represents the raw material from which all creations are formed. This new hybrid being was named Adam by the Mesopotamian scribes. The term best suited to describe a kind of biogel substance containing genetically manipulated cells. These genetic techniques operated primarily through D proteins, enabling genetic compatibility between the Anunnaki and Earth's native inhabitants. The blood type O is of extraterrestrial origin, introduced by the beings known as the Anunnaki. Initially, their blood was incompatible with Earth's indigenous human populations. As a solution, they engineered a bridging protein known today as the D protein, or rhesus-positive Rh+, enabling genetic compatibility between the two species. Today, this bridging protein has spread across all blood types on Earth due to natural human interbreeding. However, initially, this protein served to connect the genome of Earth's indigenous humans with that of the Anunnaki. The term Anunnaki itself, in their language, means those who are human-like, indicating their distinct species. They possess reptilian genes, yet as tall greys, the Anunnaki are mammals, not egg layers. Many cosmic beings known as greys operate under a collective or hive consciousness, meaning they follow group commands rather than individual will. However, among them exist advanced tall greys, who have evolved beyond the hive mind, possessing individual consciousness. These beings are more free-thinking and spiritually advanced. Interestingly, the Anunnaki are believed to be a hybrid race, a mix between these evolved greys and the humanoid species known as the T-Ashkaru, originating from Sirius B. In other words, the Anunnaki represent a fusion of cosmic wisdom and spirituality. The beings we've historically referred to as gods are essentially higher-dimensional hybrid entities. Today, individuals with type O blood are genetically more compatible with reptilians and certain gray species. As a result, they are often targeted for abductions in ongoing hybridization programs. This is because their blood carries a specific vibrational frequency compatible with extraterrestrial DNA. Particularly, humans with type O-Rh positive blood are believed to more readily accept genetic codes linked to reptilian lineage, making them highly suitable for hybridization experiments. On the other hand, type O-Rh negative blood is believed to hold an even deeper significance. Due to its extraterrestrial origin, it resonates strongly with the vibrational frequencies of the Anunnaki. People with this blood type often exhibit heightened psychic abilities, and their energy fields easily shift in density, making them especially susceptible to interdimensional interference and abductions. The Anunnaki are interdimensional beings whose DNA contains inherent powers and capabilities unique to their species. As a result, blood types associated with their DNA have become highly valuable targets for Nebu-affiliated Greys, seeking to unlock humanity's hidden genetic codes of power. In fact, it is even said that human blood is among the most valuable forms of currency in the entire galaxy. But that's not all. Humans are actually a hybrid species made from the genetic material of the Anunnaki, along with 20 other extraterrestrial species and 1 indigenous species, making a total of 22 genetic lineages. In other words, humanity is not only descended from the Anunnaki, but carries within its DNA the legacy of 20 additional extraterrestrial races and 1 native Earth species, resulting in a truly remarkable genetic mosaic. This means the Anunnaki were neither the first nor the last species to contribute to humanity's genetic heritage. As we now understand, blood carries within it both the memories and psychic abilities of its lineage. This is precisely why individuals like Elena have often found themselves targeted. On an interstellar trading level, DNA serves as a form of currency. Thus, if a species contains DNA from 22 distinct alien races, its blood becomes one of the most valuable commodities, not only in the galaxy, but beyond. Returning to the Sumerian clay tablets, we find mention of a god named Ea, recorded as the chief overseer of Sumerian genetic engineering. Ea is widely known by his title, Enki, meaning Lord of the Earth. He was the son of the ruling king, but control over Earth was ultimately seized by his half-brother, Enlil. Interestingly, the name Ea translates as "he of the waters." This didn't mean he literally lived in the sea. Rather, it symbolically referred to his mastery of genetics, the amniotic fluid of the womb, and the liquid substances used during genetic hybridization processes. Moreover, as Elena later learned from extraterrestrial contacts, Ea also symbolized the dark energy superfluid that powers and stabilizes stargates. Another significant point refers to the Great Flood. In these tablets, Enki is described as the deity who, through a human intermediary named Utnapishtim, preserved Earth's genetic heritage in an ark, when a great war among the ruling colonies led to the near extinction of most life on Earth. This ark wasn't just meant to carry Earth's indigenous animals. It was actually a spacecraft designed to transport DNA samples representing Earth's entire biological diversity. As introduced in our previous video, former U.S. soldier J.P. has personally visited this ancient Ark spacecraft during secret military missions. Some of these samples were securely preserved in DNA banks located in distant galaxies. Others were later used to repopulate Earth after it had been devastated, This image depicts a Mesopotamian seal illustrating a scene from the Enuma Elish. It portrays an Anunnaki geneticist beside the Tree of Life, symbolizing DNA, alongside stars, constellations, and gods aboard hovering spacecraft. In other words, Enki contributed his own DNA to create the first Adam. This is why Enki often referred to himself as humanity's father. Yet it's essential to understand that Enki was not a god. These beings were extraterrestrials, not divine entities. They should never be objects of worship. Rather, we might simply show them respectful humility, as we would toward beings from any advanced civilization. Enki was a scientist who held great hopes for the humanity he helped create. However, his half-brother, Enlil, had different intentions. Enlil desired to keep Adam's descendants as a slave race here on Terra. A devastating war erupted, resulting in Enki and his scientists being exiled from Earth. Enlil's people remained on Earth, deeply embedding themselves within major societal power structures, right up until today. However, now that Enlil's agents have lost their grip on Earth's control, Enki has returned, accompanied by the Cedars. The beings referred to here as the Cedars are highly advanced extraterrestrial entities who existed long before the Anunnaki ever arrived on Earth. Originating from distant galaxies, these entities traveled across the cosmos, seeding life on Earth and many other planets. Known as those who plant the seeds of life, they are the Cedars. Even now, within our very DNA, their wisdom and memories quietly persist. The first fragment of the Sumerian king list was discovered in the early 1900s at Nippur by German-American researcher Hermann Hilprecht. Additional tablets were found in 1906, and remarkably, all these fragments perfectly complement each other. The best preserved example of the Sumerian king list is a clay prism inscribed vertically in cuneiform script, known as the Weld Blundell prism. This artifact is currently housed in the Ashmolean Museum at Oxford University, England. Several copies of the Sumerian king list have been discovered in royal libraries across Babylon, Susa, Assyria, and Nineveh, with more than a dozen dating from around the 7th century BCE. The oldest surviving version dates back to the 3rd dynasty of Ur, roughly between 2112 BCE and 2004 BCE. The ancient Sumerian royal lists are among the most mysterious and important ancient documents ever found on Earth, containing the names of rulers who descended from heaven and kings who reigned for incredible lengths. Written in the ancient Sumerian language, these documents detail a time when the planet was ruled by the gods for thousands of years. It depicts ancient Sumer before and after the Great Flood, and the generations of hybrid kings who ruled the area, and the human kings who followed them. These gods were depicted as giants, but it's entirely possible that the indigenous peoples of Earth at that time were smaller than modern humans. To them, even modern humans may have been considered giants. The king list begins long before the Great Flood, recording the names of rulers who lived for thousands of years. According to its opening lines, 8 kings ruled Earth for a combined total of 241,200 years, until a devastating flood swept across their lands. The text begins as follows. After kingship descended from heaven, kingship was in Eridug. In Eridug, Alulim became king. He ruled for 28,800 years. Alaljar ruled for 36,000 years. 2 kings ruled for a total of 64,800 years. Eridug fell, and kingship was transferred to Bad Tabira. In Bad Tabira, Enmenlu-Ana ruled for 43,200 years. Enmengal-Ana ruled for 28,800 years. The shepherd Dumuzi ruled for 36,000 years. 3 kings ruled for a total of 108,000 years. The flood story described in the Sumerian king list closely resembles the biblical tale of Noah. In these ancient Sumerian texts, the name Noah is replaced by Ziusudra, also known as Utnapishtim. Who are we, really? What are we made of? What elements truly shape our identity? Where did we come from? And what hidden, unexplored abilities lie within us? We must remember who we truly are. All answers to these questions exist within ourselves, within the pineal gland, at the center of our being and memory. It's the gateway to all knowledge, the doorway into our genetic memory. Our DNA is composed of 2 strands, mirroring the Kundalini energy as it divides into masculine and feminine polarities, represented as 2 serpentine energy currents. Imagine a red feminine dragon and a white masculine dragon, spiraling gracefully around each other, dancing upward until they embrace joyfully at the pineal gland within the forehead. When the Kundalini blooms, these forces unite and fully awaken at the very center of our head. The 2 coils become one, and we become capable of spiraling upward, opening ourselves to interdimensional realms. We are interdimensional beings, crafted from 22 distinct galactic genetic lineages. Humans are unique and magnificent. Their double-coiled DNA reflects the Kundalini, polarized into masculine and feminine energies. 2 serpentine currents of energy, a powerful red dragon, feminine, and a white dragon, masculine, dancing gracefully around each other. They finally meet in joyful embrace at the pineal gland. This is the moment when the portal is opened. This portal resembles the caduceus, the druid's egg, and the uraeus on the forehead of pharaohs. Ancient wisdom is encoded everywhere, waiting for us to decode and understand it. The Anunnaki and their descendants, the ancient Egyptians, understood this profound knowledge. The structure of our double serpent DNA coils was encrypted into symbols, allowing this wisdom to endure throughout time. Even today, within shamanic traditions, it is remembered as the sacred tree of life, the Yggdrasil of the 9 worlds, symbolizing our DNA. Through these ancient teachings, shamans learned to utilize the sacred tree of life as a double spiral, allowing consciousness to journey into other worlds, enabling travel beyond space and time. The serpent coiled around this tree represents nothing less than our own inherent power. That is precisely why this tree was cut down. by those who seek to keep our true potential dormant. Humanity was robbed of its natural birthright, prevented from discovering true knowledge. For once awakened, this power grants access to the wisdom of the entire universe. What those who sought to enslave us feared most was our discovery of self-knowledge. On the stone at the entrance of the temple at Delphi in ancient Greece, wise and compassionate elders engraved the very key that would unlock Earth's liberation. Know thyself. This was the first of 3 teachings, followed by 2 others. Nothing in excess, and certainty brings madness. The polarized forces of masculine and feminine, positive and negative, function like 2 electrodes, creating a powerful electromagnetic field. Humanity's adversaries aim to erase this polarity. Through newly crafted political narratives of so-called awakening, they execute psychological operations intended to dismantle the very concept of gender polarity, effectively suppressing our true power. They begin by confusing young children in schools, destroying the very concept of identity. Yet humanity is inherently a dualistic species, and remaining true to our nature means aligning ourselves with our natural power. Our adversaries strive to bind people to frequencies of fear, to weaken them, force obedience, and ultimately gain easy control. If we shift into the frequency of love, which resonates far higher and faster than the frequency of fear, we reclaim our sovereignty. We become immensely powerful beings, exactly as we truly are, and exactly as we've always been. The special overseers who enslaved humanity strongly opposed Adam and his descendants discovering their true power. These beings were never gods. They were extraterrestrials. The fearsome and wrathful God depicted in the Old Testament, who punished and banished anyone daring to recognize their full potential, was not truly divine. He was, in fact, merely the extraterrestrial Enlil in disguise. Enlil's ultimate goal was to bind humanity's potential and keep us enslaved. For thousands of years, we've been conditioned to believe that symbols of the serpent represent evil. This was especially true in the case of images depicting a serpent coiled around a tree, particularly when that tree was known as the Tree of Life. The story of Eve and the Tree of Knowledge clearly symbolizes the awakening of Kundalini. The apple, traditionally described as the fruit of knowledge, represents the pineal gland itself. The day we realize we've been deceived, that the serpent coiled around the tree symbolizes our own hidden power, is the day the ancient extraterrestrial manipulation, which has kept humanity enslaved since ancient times, will crumble to dust. Knowledge is power. Now is the time for us to break free from the chains of ignorance and reconnect with who we truly are. We hold far greater power than those who sought to control us. This is exactly why they've worked so tirelessly, hoping we'd never remember. Now let us become the alchemists ourselves. Awaken the sacred spiraling coils of energy within, the masculine and feminine powers intertwined. Activate the electrodes. Perform the alchemical fusion within yourself, merging the 2 polarities into one. Open the vortex of your true power. Let us refuse to play their game, a game designed to confuse, suppress, and distort our essential nature. We must not neglect our words or thoughts, nor allow the erasure of femininity and the destruction of masculinity in ways that disrupt our natural polarity. Let us disregard these harmful and misguided practices and instead begin exploring who we truly are. Embark on the journey within, becoming one with all dimensions and all universes. Now is the time to rise up, reclaim our sovereignty, and assert our rights as multidimensional interstellar beings. The time has come for the dragon to awaken. These are the words of Elena Danaan, an emissary of the Galactic Federation who has traveled from distant stars with a mission to liberate humanity. One evening in September 2021, something extraordinary happened to Elena Danaan. A peculiar energy suddenly filled her bedroom, and an overwhelmingly powerful presence appeared before her eyes. The presence carried such immense power that it felt as though the walls might crack under its invisible pressure, as if a tornado had suddenly swept into the room. The air compressed so abruptly that Elena felt her chest being crushed. She sat up on her bed, gasping for breath, her heart racing wildly, the sound of blood pulsating loudly in her ears. Suddenly, she felt her blood coursing through her veins as if it were bubbling. A strange, yet powerful sensation, as if memories long dormant were being awakened. Then, a voice spoke clearly to her.
I am Father.
She felt as if her eyes were burned by the intense brightness, yet she looked upward into the blazing light. There, vaguely floating above the ground, was an incredibly tall humanoid figure.
I have returned.
He radiated a divine and majestic presence, not only physically, but also in his glorious power and shining wisdom. An eternal being who seemed not of this world. As her eyes adjusted, she became attuned to his vibration, and his form grew clearer and more distinct. He stood approximately 270 centimeters tall, slender, wearing a tight-fitting metallic suit. He had no hair, and his elongated skull extended backward. His slanted eyes glowed like garnets, with clear, crystal silver pupils. To Elena, he appeared as a being transcending time itself. His lips never moved. Their conversation took place entirely through telepathy. His words resonated deeply, heavily, echoing inside her mind.
Who are you?
I am Enki.
Enki, the Anunnaki king, who once sought to liberate humanity from slavery, had returned for humanity's final battle for freedom. His overwhelming presence defied description. In that moment, he revealed to Elena visions of Earth's long-forgotten past. At that moment, Enki showed Elena the following visions. A primate crawling before the gods. A long, thin metal ship descending into Eden amidst the roaring wind. Trees bending and the earth rising into the air. A city being built overnight, and the mining operations that turned the earth into bloody dust. These were scenes that depicted the desires of the gods. But why? Why had Enki appeared before her? Magnificent flaming wings spread outward from both of Enki's shoulders. As a plasma shield enveloped Elena, the room filled with intense heat. Then Enki spoke.
I will protect you as you carry out your mission. I am your father. I have returned to witness my children freeing themselves. Now is the time for my children to rise.
This extraordinary event, experienced by Elena Danaan, occurred in September 2021. Enki, humanity's ancient father, had returned to Earth to free enslaved humankind. The day after her contact with Enki, Elena reached out to Thor Han, sharing the details of what had occurred the previous night. Thor Han was already fully aware of this remarkable encounter. As a High Commander in the Galactic Federation, he provided Elena with deeper insights into Enki's return and his purpose.
It is a tremendous honor to meet Enki.
Is it because of the work I'm doing?
Of course. You're not the only one protected by Enki and his people. Many others working to free humanity from the threat of the Nebu are also under his protection. The enemy is growing stronger. We're entering the final stages of this long war, and our allies are approaching the boundaries of the solar system.
Who's coming? I know the Negumak answered the Galactic Federation's call, but are the Anunnaki returning as well?
Only Ia's faction, the one you call Enki.
The name Enki means Lord of the Earth, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. Ea in Anunnaki language means he who masters fluids. In human terms, you might translate it as geneticist.
I see. Is Anunnaki the language of the Anunnaki?
That's right. Enki and his group were defeated long ago and had to leave Earth, and a military leader named Enlil took control of this planet. Enki had always intended to refine the original human species on Earth, to study and support their evolutionary potential. But Enlil wasn't a scientist. He was the supreme commander of the Anunnaki military, assigned to govern Earth with the critical task of creating a hybrid slave species. So, Enki and his team left Earth hoping to return someday, taking precious DNA samples of the original humans with them. Now, they're returning to Earth, bringing back these pure genetic samples in order to repair the damage done to the human genome through manipulations by their enemies.
You mean something like recent biological weapons?
Exactly. As an analogy, those who've been affected by biological weapons could potentially reintegrate the clear original DNA. The DNA codes that Enki is bringing back originate from the original macromolecules, and that's extremely important. The genetic markers of the original Earth humans are incredibly strong, healthy, resilient, and almost unalterable. These original genetic codes will be used in holographic medical technology to heal and repair humanity. Recently, the human genome has been significantly altered through hybridization programs conducted by the Nebu, an alliance of 6 Orion species. With the original ancient genetic codes, it's absolutely possible to repair these genetic alterations and fully restore humanity from the damage done.
Is Enlil's Anunnaki group still here on Terra?
Yes, they certainly left a faction here, though that was a very long time ago.
How is Enki still alive?
They're effectively immortal. They create clones of themselves to benefit from eternal life, jumping from body to body, bypassing the process of reincarnation. I can sense your emotions. What is it you're afraid of?
I'm not afraid. It's just that he was so magnificent. That's the kind of being Enki is.
Haven't I taught you that we are all equals at the level of consciousness? We show respect, we salute, but we never bow.
What we can learn from this story is that there is truly nothing to fear. You are greatly protected and guided. You may have no one to call your master, but there are beings who willingly share wisdom gained through experience and knowledge learned over time. Enki deeply loved the humans of Terra, and that's precisely why he sought to free them. He gifted humanity with many talents through his own blood. Enki is compassionate. That's what sets him apart. It seems he will walk alongside you and your people, as well as the forces of Earth. The great moment when the dark enemy leaves this planet is drawing near. Your solar system will be reclaimed. Right now, many beings are supporting the victory of your people, proudly and lovingly watching humanity evolve, and have come to help establish a stable and prosperous timeline for Earth's future. As those familiar with Elena Danaan's YouTube channel, Star Nations News, or Miyoko Sano's channel already know, the being known on Earth since ancient times as Enki is now referred to as Ea and inspires many today as Prince Ea. He is the heir to the Anak Empire, a wonderfully compassionate being and a very old friend of Elena. Often called the Cosmic Alchemist, he shares profound, universal wisdom. But when will they openly appear? They will reveal themselves when we humans of Earth are truly ready to understand them. Humanity now stands at a major turning point. Rapid advancements in technology, escalating environmental challenges, and a growing interest in space exploration are no mere coincidences. They may be signs that human consciousness is evolving toward a new stage. According to Elena Danaan, this era is the Galactic Dawn, a preparatory phase leading to official contact with the Anunnaki and other cosmic civilizations. The evolution of our consciousness is a crucial part of this process. The future envisioned by Elena Danaan is not one filled with fear or uncertainty, but rather one overflowing with hope, peaceful interactions with cosmic civilizations, the sharing of advanced technologies, and the expansion of our collective awareness. These are not mere fantasies, but perhaps the path humanity is truly meant to follow. Truth often surpasses our common sense and beliefs. Elena Danaan's message offers us new perspectives and possibilities. Whether or not you believe her words is entirely up to you. Yet, by exploring the cosmic truths she shares, your vision and awareness may expand. Now, a special opportunity awaits you to hear directly from Elena Danaan herself about these incredible truths of the universe. On June 6, 2025, Elena Danaan will visit Ginza, Tokyo, Japan, for a special in-person lecture. This historic event is organized by Miyoko Sano, a dedicated messenger bringing truth to Japan. Currently, there's no one other than Miyoko Sano who could bring Elena Danaan to Japan. At this rare and valuable event, Elena will share the latest information and revelations that haven't yet been disclosed, even in her books. Also appearing at the event will be JP, a former U.S. Army soldier who possesses unique DNA that allows him to activate all of the ancient arcs. You can find the event link in the description below. Seats are limited, so if you're interested, please check it out as soon as possible. Elena Danaan continues to face constant attacks from various organizations and individuals. If she's merely speaking her truth, why do they feel such a strong need to attack her? Though Elena always speaks with strength, beauty, and dignity, she remains deeply sensitive and compassionate at heart. Additionally, the content of this video was based on the book The Cedars Return of the Gods, authored by Elena Danaan and translated by Miyoko Sano. Please note that this book does not discuss Zecharia Sitchin or his theories. Thank you so much for watching this video to the end. See you in the next one.